Well, here we are back again, and we have a new chapter and a new subject. I hope you enjoy this subject. I do. Jobs and professions. Let's talk a bit about those two terms. They're not the same. And job is anything we do for work, and therefore it's a very general word. I could say, let's say someone comes to fix my refrigerator. I say he did a good job, And if you're a young person, maybe you need to earn a little money for 2 weeks. You do something as a job. A job, just some way to earn money. But usually a profession is something that takes training and you do over a long period of time. When you hear someone has a profession, we think of maybe being a teacher or a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, something like that. I'm sure you know that, for example, in sports, all of you perhaps like sports, but not everybody is a professional. David Beckham is a professional. Wayne Rooney is a professional. I hope I'm not, I'm sure you know many others, okay? Professionals, huh? So jobs and professions. That's what we're talking about in this chapter. Shortly, you're going to hear a conversation about finding a job. Our lecture, that you're going to hear it today, and I hope you'll prepare it for next time, changes in the U.S. job market. And then next time we'll also be doing contexts about guessing people's jobs or professions. And we'll be doing a real-world task about a homemaker's typical day. That is another profession, being a homemaker. A homemaker is what a lady does at home. She makes the home, she takes care of the children, and she does all the things around the house, and that is being a homemaker. Let's see what our quotation is for this unit. Work and play are words used to describe the same thing under differing conditions. Huh? Yeah. So really the beauty of that is if you like your job is play. And I'll tell you something, none of my business to do this, but maybe you'd like to know. I like my job, and so really I enjoy what I'm doing. And I really consider myself blessed to have that. All right, that's just a comment from me to you. All right, connecting to the topic, Connecting, we want to get into the topic. Describe this man's job. Well, let's see what you think his job is. Well, my God, he certainly isn't a cook, and he isn't a teacher. Well, I think this is a veterinarian, a doctor that takes care of animals. Yes, it looks that way. Certainly looks like a doctor, and that is not a normal patient. That is a cat. So, yes, a veterinarian. So what does he do every day? Well, I suppose he receives various kinds of animals, and he sees what's wrong with them, and prescribes, either therapy or medicine or whatever is necessary. What is your ideal job? Well, I'd like to say ideal profession, or what is your ideal work? Job really is not such a... Yeah, what would you like to do? Very important. Some of you are young enough to be making that choice, and that's a great, a great opportunity. And if you are very fortunate, I hope you will be, you will choose the right one. If you do, it'll make all the difference. What do you need to do to get your ideal job? Well, that depends. Today, most good jobs depend on education, learning things. Now, you can learn it in a book, you can learn it in school, or you can learn it by doing, but certainly today, it's not enough to just be strong and healthy. You have to have some skill. All right, let's move on with our situation. Our situation today has to do with this young man. This young man, you probably know, is Jeff. Jeff is looking in the paper. And if you read the print below, it says Jeff looks for a job in the classified ads. Now, in many newspapers around the world, there's a section of the newspaper where they list things. These are called classified ads. You want to rent a house, there's a section, houses for rent. You want to hire a teacher, well, there's a section for that. So if you want a job, many times you go to the classified ads, so you may find a job. You won't find a profession, you'll find a job, something for a while to earn money. Maybe it will lead to a profession and become one, but you can't find a profession in the newspaper. And here we see a picture in the corner here of the classified ads. He's circling the ones that look attractive. So now I think it's time to move on to our preview. We always do this, the preview of our conversation. We have our pre-listening questions. Andrew is a teacher. Jeff plays in a football team. Lee is an international student. What job-related problems might each of them have? Well, as a teacher, he might have a large number of students in his class. He may have too much homework to do. All of these are possible things. In a football team, well, it might be the team, the coach, maybe doesn't like the coach. Maybe he has problems with some of the other players. Maybe he doesn't like all the practice they have to do. Lee is an international student. Well, I don't know that. Then he doesn't have a job problem. That's not a job, you know. To be a student is not a job, you know. A student is a privilege. And therefore, people who get money to study, we never call it a salary. It's not considered work. It's a joy to learn. I hope so. I hope you're finding that. I hope you're enjoying this experience. Number 2, look at the picture. What are we just looked at that, classified ads. We talked about that. Why do you think Jeff is reading them? Well, I guess he's looking for a job. Number 3, how do people in your home country find jobs? Well, I don't know. I understand that some are put in the newspapers, but I think, and some you'll find out from friends or from family, different ways. Number 4, have you ever had a job? I think many of you are maybe actually in a profession. And so what was your first job? I don't know. I hope you liked it. Maybe you're still doing the same job. It's not a bad thing. If you like your job, it's nice to stay with it. Now let's look at our vocabulary. Please remember, vocabulary is not words. With vocabulary, many times consists of phrases. If you look at this exercise here, we have, out of the 5, 3 of them are words, and 2 are phrases. The first one is a phrase, in the mood. Mood has a special, in the mood. Notice, I'm not in the mood to go to a movie tonight. Well, the choice was D, to want to do, to want to have something, to be in the mood, to feel like doing it. C, or number 2, sorry, he has 2 jobs because he is supporting his mother. Now we have a meaning of support physically. For example, my legs support my body. The legs of a table support the top. But here, of course, because we're supporting a person, this would mean money support. We say financial support. And so we choose C, to pay for, to support. Some of you may be paying for your education, and others of you, someone may be supporting you. Number 3, spends. Now we can spend money, but also we can spend time. He spends a lot of time playing football. And so we chose E, to use time, doing something, to spend your time. Number 4, the worst. Now notice, again, this, how was your day today? It was the worst. It was the worst. Now that's not a grammatical use of worst, because worst, usually we have to say, you know, we have a number of things, and one thing is bad, and this is worse, and that, of them all, it's the worst. But here it's being used idiomatically with a special meaning. And that's why I notice B is marked slang, terrible. Now, if somebody asked me about a book, a textbook, and asked me to write a report, I wouldn't say, oh, this book is the worst. I might say, this book is very bad, this book is not very good. But notice, this is ordinary speech that is not always acceptable, So, please realize that's why it says slang. Okay? So, please remember that. And now we go on to number 5. The students complained about the bad food in the cafeteria. Complain, I don't think they were happy about it. And so we chose A, to say that you are unhappy or angry with someone or something. Now, complaining is part of life. Some of us like to complain. And if something is going wrong, it's a good idea to complain, even about this course. Okay? I'm serious. Okay? Now you're going to hear the conversation. This is now comprehension for you. And notice some basic things you should be listening to answer. Why is Jeff reading the classified ads? What kind of job would Jeff prefer? What was Jeff's first job? What was his problem? What was the problem with Jeff's first job? Then we hear Andrew. Why is Andrew unhappy with his job? Then Lee. Why can't Lee work in the United States? And finally, what does Jeff suggest at the end of the conversation? So now just listen to understand, and then we'll come back to these questions shortly. Okay? Ready to listen to the conversation. Okay? Remember here we have Lee and Jeff, and later we have Andrew. Okay? Lee begins. He says, "Hey Jeff, what's going on?" Jeff, "Oh, I'm looking at the classified ads. Looks like I have to get a job." Lee, "I thought you had a job at a computer store or something." Jeff, "Yeah, but that's part-time. I need something full-time." Lee, "Really? What about school? What about your football team? How can you work full-time?" Jeff, "Well, to tell you the truth, I'm probably going to drop out of school for a while. I'm just not in the mood for studying these days. I'd rather spend my time playing with my football team. But my father won't support me if I'm not in school." Lee, "I see. Well, what kind of job do you want to get?" Jeff, "Well, ideally, something involving sports, like in a sports center. But if that's not possible, I don't know. But whatever I do, it'll be better than my first job." Lee, "Oh, yeah? What was that?" Jeff, "Believe it or not, the summer after I finished high school, I worked at Burger Ranch." Lee, "You? In a fast food place? What did you do there?" Jeff, "I was a burger flipper. You know, I made hamburgers all day long." Lee, "That sounds like a pretty boring job." Jeff, "It was the worst. I haven't gone inside a Burger Ranch since I quit that job." Andrew, "Hi, what's so funny?" Jeff, "Do you remember my job at the Burger Ranch?" Andrew, "Oh yeah, that was pretty awful. It actually doesn't sound so bad to me right now." Lee, "Why, Andrew? What's wrong?" Andrew, "Oh, I'm just really, really tired. I'm teaching 4 different classes this term, and 2 of them are really large. Sometimes I think I've been teaching too long." Lee, "How long have you been teaching?" Andrew, 12 years. Maybe it's time to try something else." Lee, "Like what?" Andrew, "Well, I've always wanted to be a writer. I could work at home." Jeff, "Oh, don't listen to him, Lee. He always talks this way when he's had a bad day at school." "At least you have a good job, Andrew. Look at me. I'm broke, and Dad won't lend me any more money." Andrew, "Oh, stop complaining. If you're so poor, why don't you go back to Burger Ranch?" Lee, "Listen, you two, stop arguing. Look at me. I can't work at all because I'm an international student." Jeff, Okay, I'm sorry, Andrew. Tell you what, let's go out to dinner. I'll pay." Andrew, "But you're broke." Jeff, "All right, you pay." Okay, that's a nice solution. All right, let's see if we can answer those questions now. Why is Jeff reading the classified ads? Well, I think you heard he needs money. His dad won't give him any more money, and so he needs to get a full-time job. He has a part-time job at the computer store, you remember in our earlier unit? Now he's looking for a full-time job. Number 2, what kind of job would he prefer? He says anything to do with sports. Maybe a sports center, a health center. Maybe a trainer, something like that. So he'd like to do that, something in the sporting line. 3, what was Jeff's first job. He talks about Burger Ranch. Of course, that's like McDonald's or a place like that. And what was he doing there? He was a burger flipper. Huh? Flip means to turn over. Huh? Flipper. Not a nice thing to do all day, flipping hamburgers. What was the problem with Jeff's first job? Well, he used a word we all like to use sometimes. It was boring. Huh? You do the same thing again and again and again. It was boring, and maybe also not much money. Huh? He didn't say that, though. Number 5, then Andrew comes in, and he says he's also unhappy. Why is Andrew unhappy with his job? He says he's so tired. He has so many students, so many classes. Huh? At least that's how he feels at this time. So, and then Lee pipes in to say, why can't Lee work in the United States? And he says, well, he says, I'm an international student. Huh? He's not allowed to work. Huh? So he says, you're lucky. You can work. And 7, what does Jeff suggest at the end of the conversation? Well, he suggests, let's go out to eat. I'll pay. But he just said he was broke. So when Andrew says, yeah, but you're broke, he said, okay, you pay. Nice solution. Nice solution to the problem, huh? Very elegant. Now, I hope some of you, those of you who have the text, I hope you try doing this or checked it. Here we have the close exercise. Remember, you'll be doing some of this in your homework, also on the final exam. Words missing, you have to choose which is the correct one. What's going on, looking at the classified ads. Remember, classified is one of our vocabulary words. Classified means groups, huh? Housing, jobs, marriage, huh? That's why it's classified. They're in groups, huh? Classes. It looks like I have to get a job. I thought you had a job, but that's part-time, full-time, school, football team. Well, I think these are things you know. To tell you the truth, to drop out of, huh? Drop out of. That's a three-word verb, to drop out of, huh? To stop going to school is to drop out. I'm just not in the mood, one of our vocabulary, to be in the mood, not in the mood for studying. He'd rather spend his time playing with the football team. Father won't support, huh? One of our vocabulary. Support means to hold up. Here it means financially, huh? If you're a father, you support your family, huh? And support your children, huh? Lee says, what do you want to get? What kind of job? He says a sports job. Now here, very important for you is to notice this one. But if that's not possible, now notice that's with apostrophe S, because this is what we call a contraction. Huh? So you have to recognize if we have, let's say, that's, and here we have, it means that is, so you have to have that apostrophe there. So be careful about that. Sometimes it makes a difference in meaning. ITS with an apostrophe is a contraction. It is without, it's a possessive adjective. Huh? So you have to sometimes choose. That's where grammar comes in as well. Never get away from grammar, even in listening. Okay? So that was that's. Then my first job, what was that? I finished high school. You're in a fast food place. What did you do there? I was a burger, huh? Short for hamburger. Now we have chili burgers and chicken burgers and all kinds of burgers. That sounds like a pretty boring, huh? Our word boring, huh? Not interesting, huh? I hope you don't find this class boring. Please tell me no. Tell me it's interesting. I hope so. Okay, it was the worst, huh? That's again grammar, huh? But this being used idiomatically, just meaning very bad, huh? How was the exam? Oh, it was the worst. Okay, notice that would not be formal usage. If formal usage, it was terrible. It was very bad. But colloquially, it was the worst. Okay, since I quit, huh? Quit may be one of our vocabulary, Q-U-I-T, to stop doing something, huh? If you're a smoker, you should quit smoking, huh? If you want to lose weight, you quit eating sugar and things, okay? What's so funny? Do you remember my job, huh? Okay, so be prepared. Please review these. These are things you should be able to do. Now let's continue with the remainder of this close exercise. Oh yeah, that was pretty awful. Nice word we use a lot in English meaning bad, an awful time, an awful weather or whatever. So please notice meaning bad. What's wrong? Really tired. Classes. Large. Teaching. Okay, try something else, something different, huh? What? Being a writer. Don't always. Broke. I'm broke again. Notice that's colloquial language, huh? If you're going to use formulas, say I have no money. I'm out of money. But this is again in colloquial sort of slang. Broke. I'm broke. But I won't lend me. I'm sorry. Dad won't lend me. Lend, to give. Remember loan, the bank before? Loan and lend. Lend me money. Stop complaining. Vocabulary, huh? Complain, to say you're unhappy. If you're unhappy, it's your right to complain. I'll check my emails later. Okay? All right. You go back. Stop arguing. Huh? Argue, to discuss in a high voice. Unhappy. Don't argue. Huh? Arguing. Stop arguing. Look at me. I can't work at all. Okay? And then let's go out to dinner. Okay? Dinner, a large meal. Huh? I'll pay. But you're broke. All right? You pay. Huh? So that was our conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, what I would like to emphasize to you is, don't just listen once, listen again. Here we have some more reductions. We have reductions every unit. Huh? Notice them up above. Okay, what's going on? Going on. Probably gonna drop out of. Huh? What did you do there? So please notice below how we supply them. You will hear a reduction. You have to supply. You have to choose the correct form. I'm going to ask you. Gonna. Going to. What kinda? Means what kind of. Huh? Mostly factory jobs. The last 5 years I worked in a plastics factory. What did you do there? What did you do there? I used to cut. I used to cut sheets of plastic. What do you want to do here? What do you wanna? Oh, that's a long one. What do you wanna? What do you want to? Huh? Applicant, I don't know. I don't know. I'll do anything. I'm good with my hands and I'm a hard worker. And the manager says, why don't you fill out an application? Why don't you? Huh? It looks like we're gonna have an opening next week. Going to, huh? So get used to those reductions and their equivalents. We move on. On we move. The last thing in terms of the part 1 is reviewing these uses of apologizing and reconciling. Huh? Apologize, saying you're sorry, and reconcile is bringing two people together. You notice in our talk today that Lee and Andrew were disagreeing, and Bruce tried to reconcile. Oh, don't stop arguing. That's to reconcile. It's explained here up above. To reconcile with someone after a disagreement. People in the U.S. have the following customs. They can do something nice for the person. They can buy the person a gift. They can say they will change their behavior. This is to reconcile, to make good again. Huh? Notice some of the language here. Listen, you two, stop arguing. Look at me. I can't work at all because I'm in an international. Okay, I'm sorry, Andrew. I tell you what, let's go out to dinner. I'll pay, huh? So, apologize, sorry, reconciling. Okay, I tell you what, let's go out to eat, huh? That's reconciling, okay? So, please know about that. Know some of the ways to apologize. I'm sorry, I apologize. Please forgive me. Okay? Right. Now, the last thing to do is today is extremely important because this is your lecture. Remember, every unit you have one passage, longer passage. I'm calling it a lecture, but it's a passage. Now, this passage is about the job market, changes in the U.S. job market. So please listen to this and try to understand it, and we'll be using it next time. So really, this is something that you can really benefit from listening again and again. All right, today I'd like to speak to you about the U.S. job market. If you're graduating from high school or college in the next year or two, then you're probably concerned about finding a job. There are two questions that young people like you always ask me. First, what are the best jobs going to be? Second, how can I prepare myself to get one? Well, in the next few minutes, I want to try to answer these questions for you. And I hope this information, sorry about I was interrupted there. I hope this information will help you make the right choices about your future career. Let's start with a little history. In the last 100 years, there's been a big change in the U.S. job market. It has changed from being a manufacturing economy to being a service economy. What does that mean? Well, a manufacturing economy is based on making things, making cars, making furniture, making clothes. In a service economy, it's based on doing things for people. Let me give you some example of services. An airline pilot who pilots an airplane, a doctor who examines you, a restaurant worker who brings you food. These are doing services for you. And believe it or not, I'm doing a service for you now. A teacher is also providing a service. So again, my point that I'm trying to make is that in the last 100 years, the economy of the United States has changed from one mainly of making things to giving services. And that makes a big difference in what you want to do in the future. Now, why did this happen? Well, one major reason is automation. Automation, the use of machines. Yes, technology means we're able to manufacture goods by using machines. We don't need as many human workers. So, because of this, over the last 100 years, thousands of manufacturing jobs just don't exist. Things that were done by hand are now done by machine. Another reason for this change is foreign competition. Competition, fighting, rivals. Today, the world is smaller and we have competition from abroad. So many manufacturing companies decide to put their factories in a country where things can be produced more cheaply. So that, let's say, a company in America that makes clothes opens a factory in Thailand or in India. And so the jobs now are no longer jobs in America, the company's American, but the jobs are in another country. So let me give you some figures. According to U.S. government figures, approximately 2.5 million manufacturing jobs have disappeared in the last 10 years. Now, 2.5 million. Now, a population of 300 million, wow, that's a lot. And that trend is definitely going to continue as we move further into this 21st century. On the contrary, service jobs are doing exactly the opposite. As manufacturing jobs get less, decrease, service jobs are expected to grow. In fact, we expect more than 20 million new service jobs in the next 20 years. So you see, as manufacturing goes down, service comes up. Now, that maybe sounds good to you. That's good that there are all these jobs coming. But the question is, are all of them good jobs? In your book, there's a list of many occupations that will grow greatly over the next 10 years. And many of the jobs are in three categories: healthcare, computers, and personal care and services. Let's look at each of these categories and see what that's about. First of all, healthcare. Almost half the jobs that you see on the list in your book that are going to be coming up in the next 10 years are in healthcare. These are medical assistants, physician assistants. Physician is a medical doctor. Physician assistants, physical therapy aides, dental hygienists. All of these people who help out in the health sector. These are just a few examples. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, healthcare jobs will increase almost 3 million in the next 10 years. Now, why is that? We heard manufacturing is going down. Why is healthcare going up? Well, it's very simple. We're going to need more medical services because people are living longer and longer. So that maybe your grandfather could expect to live to 55. Now we can expect to live to 80. So things have changed. People generally live longer. Secondly, many diseases that were fatal are not fatal anymore. So many times we get a disease today, we can be cured, whereas 50 years ago there was no cure. So more people survive diseases than before, or injuries. And even though these people who do survive need special care, so that's another reason why many of these jobs are needed. Now, we said also computers, that computer jobs will be increasing. Well, we're going to need more computers, and we need people to design them, people to build them, engineers, for example. And we need people to manage them, to operate them, and like database administrators. So these are all jobs that are growing. These are service jobs. You know, today computers are used in everything, you know, from rockets to coffee machines. So don't be surprised. The number of jobs in the computer industry is expected to grow almost 30% in the next 10 years. So that's an area where jobs are growing. Now we come to the third category of jobs that is growing, and this is personal care, individual care. What do we mean by this? We mean caterers, people who cook for others, home health workers, people who come to the home and help people with their health problems, daycare provider. Daycare means taking care of children while the parents are working. Now, the reason for huge growth in this category is that now many women work outside the home. So before, women would do the cooking and take care of the small children, but now many times they hire people to do that. Now, there's one more thing I'd like you to notice. All of these jobs, look at all the jobs that have a salary rank of 1, meaning they're very good. What do you notice about the educational requirements for those jobs? They all require a college degree, a BA, a Bachelor of Arts degree. So if I can sum this up, I would just like to advise you about some things I said at the beginning. We asked the question, where will the good jobs be? We've seen in service, in computers, healthcare, and personal service. Now, if you still haven't decided which career you want to follow, you should think about getting a job in one of these fields. But it's important to remember that many of these jobs don't pay well. If you want to have one of these jobs and have it pay well, you probably need to get a college education. So the answer to the second question, how can you prepare to get a good job? The answer is simple. Go to college and go to get a good degree. That's the bottom line, huh? And that's the bottom line for our class today, the bottom line. And I hope it'll encourage you to work hard and do well. Thank you. See you next time.